Breaking news, Commanders announced $3.7 billion deal to move the team to RFK Stadium site, which means they are about to move Washington's team back in Washington, D.C., where they belong. And it makes sense. I'm happy for it. It's about time. This should have happened a long time ago. It's long overdue, but guess what? As a DC native, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for this franchise. Not only do we have information about this, but if you see down here, it says the development assured by a roof-fed 65,000 seat stadium will be funded primarily by the Commanders, who will put up $2.7 billion, while DC taxpayers will pay $500 million. Now, before we get into this, there's a little bit of controversy surrounded by this because people are now saying that they don't want this because they have to pay the hard-earning money, which is tax money, in order for this thing to happen. And another issue is there is no parking. So that's one thing that they need to get fixed is the parking spot, especially if they're trying to go to the game, or they could just do tailgating while watching it from their phone, whether it's on Fox, NBC, ABC, whatever. Just know that today was one of the craziest days to be alive and a DC native if you don't watch this video right now. Because all of this crazy information I'm about to read to y'all is somewhat interesting. So, yeah, let's get into it. And by the way, this is of what the stadium might end up looking like in the RFK site. Because based on what I'm seeing, this looks beautiful. This looks fantastic. You can tell they're up in their game. They're about to change things. And you can see the White House in the middle. Now, I think they're gonna probably move the team back to DC like around 2030 because they're currently playing in Landover, Maryland, which I understand that, even though I hate that stadium, but it's whatever. But this looks beautiful. I love what this new stadium looks like. And I can't imagine the amount of excitement on social media has everybody crashing out in a good way because of this news. Like, I really like what I'm hearing so far. DC and the Washington Commanders have reached a $3.7 billion deal to transform the crumbling RFK Stadium site on the banks of Anacostia River into a new home for the team, surrounded by retail, housing, and park space. A generational development project likely to shape the legacy of Mayor Murray Bowser and the Commanders owner Josh Harris. And I've seen this on my phone earlier while I was playing pool. And even though I still don't like this mayor, but you got to give her credit for making this whole thing happen, because we've been driven for this for years, since forever. Because under Dan Snyder, he ran this franchise to the ground because there was no effort or anything that can fix this franchise. But thank God, a new era has begun. We're just getting started. Sprawling across 177 Waterhouse acres, the massive developer anchored by roof-fed 65,000 seat stadium will be funded primarily by the Commanders, who will put up $2.7 billion, while DC taxpayers will pay $500 million towards supporting the stadium across the terms released Monday. But total taxpayer costs are expected to top $1 billion when parking facilities, recreation improvements, and other water and electronic infrastructure are included. A price tag likely to spur heated debate on the DC Council and among DC residents about how public money is used. And like I said, this one is the most controversial part about this this whole ideal of moving the team back to DC when they could have done this a long time ago. But I would like to say this though: if y'all want this team to continue to stay in Maryland, then they will forever be cursed. Because it's obvious to me that the ones that don't want it are the ones that want to see this team continue to suffer. Because we've been wanting this team back in DC for years. New coach, new management, new players, and a new home that was the home for the franchise. And I'm glad that we're finally getting all of this today. All of this information, all of this confirmation, them signing the $2.7 billion deal to make it happen, improving the RFK Stadium from the inside to outside. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen right now, but by 2030, I want to live for this day for all of this to happen. If people could just support it, there is something that I would have wanted, in my opinion. The council must approve the deal, and Bowser is expected to include the public financing components in her 2026 capital budget submission in the coming weeks. The team and city are hoping to move quickly and plan to begin construction next year and have the new stadium open for the 2030 season. That will require the council to approve the terms of the deal by July, and lawmakers could debate changes. I want to speak on this part where it says budget submission. That means that they're going to have to get their money tight and get it together in order to bring all of this together. So that way people don't have to worry about using their tax money in order to bring this stadium together. So they're going to get everybody constructing everything by 2026, which is next year, and get it going quickly. I still have faith that this franchise might end up going to the Super Bowl. That's if everybody's healthy. And we already got everybody new: Adam Peters, Magic Johnson, Josh Harris, Jaden Daniels, and we got some of the best draft in a long time. We already got the best key players so far. All we need now is a kicker and a defensive lineman. Because last year, our defense went from number one to being in last place again because of mismanagement. So as long as the team is willing to do what they got to do, then everybody's back. The deal is a significant victory for Bowser, who spent a decade pursuing the RFK Stadium site for redevelopment and who has stacked part of her legacy on major transformations of DC sports arenas, from Capital One Arena to RFK. The stadium will also be a legacy-defining project for Harris, who grew up in the Chevy Case, the son of orthodontist and school teacher, before going to Wall Street, where he became a billionaire with the means to rescue his severely damaged favorite team. And I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad that he pretty much brought excitement and motivation back into our franchise. Ever since 2024, with Jaden Daniels on the horizon, he made an impact. He changed the game. He brought DC culture back to life, because after years of decades, the 20s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now we're in the 2020s, mid 2020, which is 2024, where everything changed. So the fact that all of this is happening is not only a great time to be a fan, but I'm just thankful that we've been wanting changes for years. I'm just glad that the nightmare is over. So, officials pitch the project as a development of an entirely new neighborhood, replacing seas of cracked asphalt and unused grassy expanses. The vision for the development includes several large districts, including the stadium, a plaza district for entertainment and festivals, a riverfront district for housing, rental and restaurants, a new Kidman Park residential district, including affordable housing and expanded recreation district, where the district plans to build an 89 million sportsplex next to FedEx at RFK. That's crazy. So even though they're about to recreate the RFK, but they're gonna create more homes, more housing for the people. I'm guessing for the homeless, because this is something that we've been trying to fix since forever. I'm just thankful that she's finally doing something, getting everything together, getting the restaurants, the sportsplex, the bars, the district housing, the rentals. And I would like to think that as long as they're not hurting people, as far as like costing them their tax money, because people still need places to stay and live in order to survive in life instead of being out on the streets, then I could definitely see them doing something like this, because they're definitely doing something good. We're moving up. Under the terms of the deal, the district will put up 500 million towards the stadium development over 4 years, and plans to finance the repayment of the bonds by extending the ballpark fee, a funding stream raised from DC business to go towards paying down the national park bonds. The ballpark fees were set up to expire after the repayment of those bonds, expected to happen in 2026, but the city would instead rebrand the fee as a sports facilities fee and ask businesses to keep paying, a move that could cause consternation in the business community, given that they were expecting to stop paying those fees. And I think, once again, if you like play your cards right by encouraging all of these companies to just somehow just use some of those monies, their cash, their tax money, to just try to bring all of this to life. But the thing about it is that I know a lot of people have been working in good jobs and government jobs and office jobs for years now, and all they're trying to do is just say, you know what, I'm gonna pay this and that, XYZ, boom, boom, boom. But the thing about it is that if you're causing us to give you all of our tax money, then that's going to be a big issue for certain people in the district. So all of this could be done the right way, as long as it's not being forced. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been thriving for a change for years. So I'm glad that all of this is happening. So, in addition to the $500 million in stadium development costs, taxpayers will also pay $202 for roadways, utilize infrastructure, and transit capacity study to examine whether transit improvements such as a new metro station could be needed. Well, even though I haven't ride in metro for years, I still prefer to like ride a bus or just having someone take me or ride with my parents. But there's no way I'm getting on that train, because if I get over to the next line or the other line, I could easily get lost. So there is no way I'm gonna do that, honestly. I mean, if they really want to change the Union Station, the Metro, then I've had it. Events DC, the city's convention and sports authority, will put up 181 million for a parking facility, while DC will purchase other parking facilities from the Commanders in 2032 for 175 million, a future cost that will not be part of the current financial plan. Tailgating will be more difficult in the new stadium. The team's current home, Northeast Stadium, which is Landover, Maryland still, has about 22,000 parking spaces, while approximately 8,000, which will all eventually be in a garage. And that's a no-no for me because, I think there's other ways of parking in the stadium unless you could just recreate a new parking space for everybody that wants to come to the games. So, who knows? Look, all I know for sure is that this is a long article. I'm not going to go over everything, but based on the information that we know so far, is that a new stadium is coming. They're going to have all of their taxpayer money to be going towards the new stadium, new seats, new parking spaces, new housing and parking facilities being on point, and everything is all in this article. Like I said, I didn't want to read through this article because it's too much for me. I cannot even understand certain words. I'm not the best reader, but I'm trying to give you the best information that y'all need. So please don't judge me. Okay? I'm not perfect, but just don't judge me. But at the end of the day, I'm still excited about what's to come in, I think, 5 years. So I'm here for it. Just everybody is excited for it. I am. And yeah, I like it. What y'all thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm out.